Mr. Speaker, our decision in opposing and voting against all the nominees is not against the person of these nominees. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, they are eating a forbidden fruit.
Apiaje, who was then the vice chairperson of the appointments committee? She was the vice chairperson of the appointments committee, and she signed the report.
Vetting was completed, the report was to be laid, and the NDC in opposition, in minority, physically prevented the laying of the report. And if I should quote, the then chief whip, quote, Mr. Speaker, I said, Mr. Speaker, if the majority lays this report, there will be chaos in the House, unquote. Mr. Speaker, our decision in opposing and voting against all the nominees is not against the person of these nominees. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, they are eating a forbidden fruit. The fruit, the tree that is bearing them is poison. It's a poison tree. And the fruit thereof, which is they themselves, cannot be edible.
Honorable Minority Leader, may you now conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying that whilst we stand to rely on the rules of this House to reject these nominees, we note that even the majority with their 187 on this day that they want to push through have not been able to commandeer their numbers. They don't even have the numbers to take a decision. And Mr. Speaker, at the right time, an application will be made to challenge them that they don't have the 138 to take decision, and they cannot take decision on this matter today. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker, let me start by making some basic corrections of some mistakes in the report. Page 1 of the report, line 2 of the executive summary mentions 6 nominees, but there are actually 7 nominees. And that error is also repeated in page 2, line 3. So just those basic corrections. So, Speaker, mine is not to bore the House with a very lengthy statement about matters that don't border on what is before us. So, Speaker, what is before us is the approval of 7 nominees to the Supreme Court. As a House, our basic responsibility is to find out whether the President acted in accordance with the Constitution or not. That's the first fundamental responsibility of the House. Mr. Speaker, at no point has it been canvassed that the President has acted unconstitutionally. So the Constitution has been complied with. So, Speaker, the second set of questions that we ask ourselves will be the competence, the capacity, and the ability of the nominees. And Mr. Speaker, I have listened to the minority leader and members of the minority side who spoke before me, and they all clearly confirm that the nominees are very, very competent. Indeed, let me repeat what the report, which they agree with, says, that upon careful deliberation, the committee notes that all the nominees demonstrated outstanding competence, deep knowledge of the law, and a firm grasp of judicial ethics. They address questions posed by the committee with professionalism, clarity, and intellectual rigor, reflecting their capacity to uphold the independence, integrity, and dignity of the highest court of the land. Mr. Speaker, this is the testimony of the committee made up of both the majority and the minority members. This part of the report is not disputed. And they add that the committee is satisfied that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, judicial temperament, and commitment to constitutional values expected of justice of the Supreme Court. So again, the questions that the minority leader raised about whether they can uphold the independence of the Constitution, whether they can uphold the balance that is expected of the Constitution between the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, whether they can do that, that is equally answered by this paragraph, which says that the committee is satisfied. That is, the committee made up of the NDC and MPP members is satisfied that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, judicial temperament, and commitment to constitutional values expected of justice of the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, on the basis of this, I don't think we should belabor the point about whether or not we should approve these nominees. They are obviously qualified, capable, competent, and will do the job. And I want to assure the minority leader that all the questions that he asked us have been answered in the report. Mr. Speaker, except to add a few things, my colleague, Honorable Agalga, has pointed out to this House that within the 8 years period, the NPP, led by President Nana Akufo-Addo, appointed 15 Supreme Court justices. 15. Appointed 48 Courts of Appeal justices. Appointed 113 High Court justices. Mr. Speaker, after making all these appointments, in the dying days of his tenure as president, he anticipated that some justices will be retiring. And in anticipation that they will be retiring, he then brought nominations to this House in order that when they retire, he will still have the numbers that he wants to have on the bench. And as a minority, we took a position that we didn't know who will become the next president after Akufo-Addo. But we believe that Akufo-Addo had had enough opportunities to fill the Supreme Court. And therefore, since it was not the case that we didn't have the minimum number to constitute a bench, he should leave the situation like that until the next president assumes office and also has an opportunity to at least appoint the 2 nominees that he wanted to appoint. Mr. Speaker, this really was fundamentally the basis of the objection of the minority at that time. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, the minority joined the majority at that time, and we vetted the 2 nominees. We voted the same way they voted today. They voted against, or they are voting against the nominees. We also voted against the nominees, and they voted for the nominees. A report was written. The report was brought to this House. The only reason why the nominations didn't go through was that he, as majority leader, failed to have the report taken in this House. Mr. Speaker, I am holding a copy of the report. Mr. Speaker, 38th report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency the President's nominations for appointment as Justice of the Supreme Court, September 2024. Mr. Speaker,